place where we share ideas and recipes on how you can stay healthy naturally. I am Grace Enemali. So we want to talk about reversing diabetes, that's especially for seniors. This is a case that affects mostly seniors, but today we are having even young adults coming up with diabetes and being diagnosed as diabetic because of poor lifestyle, because of the lifestyle they are living. And so that's why we want to talk about how to reverse the type 2 diabetes. You know, we have the type 1 and the type 2, but we want to look at possible ways to reverse it or stop complications. You know, we have complication of diabetes. Yes, nobody wants the complication of it. Now, complication of diabetes could lead to things like amputation. Yes, I've seen people with very serious cases of diabetic foot ulcers. Some that are built for amputation, that is amputating the leg. It can even cause things like blindness, stroke, paralysis, all kinds of complications, organ damage, kidney, and all the rest of it. These are complications that can arise if diabetes is left unchecked, type 2 diabetes. Now, we are also aware of type 1, which in most cases is not as easily reversible as the type 2. But the most common type is the one that we want to talk about. That is type 2 diabetes is the most common one. So let's share this message. Help me to share it also to your loved ones. Yes, so that's it. So it's not going to be a very lengthy one, about 45 minutes. That's what we intend to make it, please. So let's just have it, because it's going to be for 3 days by Almighty God. We want to have it for 3 days so that you can come up with all those questions. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it together, how we can manage diabetes and avoid complications of it. Yes, it is common among seniors. How we can avoid diabetes and then reduce complications of the diabetes, type 2 diabetes. It's very common. It can affect man or woman. It's not a disease that is affecting only the female. So it can affect anybody. So, and it's very common. It is also very worrisome that a lot of people, despite the information and all the herbal remedies that are out there, a lot of people are still not able to manage their blood sugar. A lot of people are still having problem with blood sugar, and that is to say that the information is not going out enough. Yes, there is not sufficient sharing of the information. So you need to help to share the message, share the life also, and let their loved one. It's lack of education, lack of awareness that makes people still live certain life. When you look outside, you see that a lot of people are not knowledgeable about what the cause of diabetes and the complications. So let's look at the general way on how you can manage it and reverse and reduce complications and possibly reverse it. I have seen people that are diabetic and over some time they are no longer taking their medications and their blood sugar became stable. It's a lifestyle thing, and we want you to pay attention. The different ways. It's not only about food, it has to do with a whole lot of lifestyle change. We already know that a lot of people are already on medication. We are not saying you should abandon your medication immediately. You must continue to follow, make the lifestyle changes as we are going to state here, not just the foods. Now, if you go to my channel, you will see a lot of foods, teas that can help you lower blood sugar. But it's not about lowering blood sugar alone. Now, or it's not about bringing down blood sugar. It's about reversing the whole disease and living a good life, a healthy life. Now, number one thing to do about diabetes is to be on the healthy side of weight. Now, if you are overweight and you are diabetic, the first and important thing to do is to reduce that weight. I have noticed and observed that when the weight starts going up, blood sugar also starts rising. If you are not monitoring your blood sugar and you are over 45, you need to also try to monitor it. If you don't have a monitor, get someone around where you can occasionally go there and check your blood sugar to know how it is moving, whether it's going up or down. Now, another thing about the blood sugar is that if you are someone that is having a family history of the diabetes, type 2 diabetes, you need to also be very, very careful and be very, very mindful of it, because the study have shown that most families where the parents are diabetic, the mother or the father, most times the children are also coming up with histories. So you have to also look at that. And then besides all of this, you have to have a holistic life change. If you are working to reverse diabetes, if you are working to not only to reverse the diabetes, if you are also working to reduce complications in case you're already managing it. Now, what are the signs of diabetes? What are the symptoms? Let's talk about the symptoms before we go straight to the remedies, how you can stop, how you can reverse it. Now, the symptoms may vary. So the symptom you see in one person may be different from another person. But the most common symptoms are frequency of urination, we know that. Then there is also things like tingling, numbness, nerve-related issues. When you are having these symptoms, these signs, you need to be careful, because it may be some of them are warning signals of diabetes, but not to say that it's a confirmed case. Some people, once there is frequency of urination, they already confirmed diabetes. If you are always hungry, it may or may not be diabetes, but in most cases also, it's part of it. If you are having belly tummy that is big, the fat is around the tummy area, it may be a warning signal too, that when you notice that your tummy is getting unusually big. This is most common among seniors. So if your tummy you are getting fat around the viscera, around the tummy area, and your fat is settling there, it's also a sign that maybe you are heading up for type 2 diabetes. And so you don't have to ignore things like that, being overweight, especially around the tummy, frequency of urination, always thirsty and all of that. So you need to, and then blood vision. There are some other cases like blood vision, dizziness. The symptoms vary from individual, one person to another. I have seen people with different symptoms of diabetes, and even most senior. One general point I want to make is that if you are a senior, don't exclude yourself that you are not diabetic. That is my standpoint. Don't exclude. If you're up to 50 years or 60, please eat and manage your life as though you are diabetic. Because once you are at certain stage in your life, your body is no longer able to manage sugar the way it was managing it before while you are growing up. So that means you have to eat cautiously. You have to eat with type 2 diabetes in your mind. You don't have to eat, simple sugars, sugary food, sugary drinks. You don't have to just eat starchy food the way you like, because it may turn out that at the end of the day, diabetes may be coming around. And it is also important, besides these symptoms, it's also important to be on alert. That is, always be mindful of your health, your blood sugar. Try to check it occasionally. That is even what I do. Try occasionally to check it. If you, for instance, if you wake up and notice that you're always hungry in the morning, this is something that has happened to me before. Maybe before 9 a.m., you are already hungry, and you just notice that it's, becoming very, very frequent. It's a sign. That was my first time to notice blood sugar rise in my own case. I didn't know. Yes, at that time when it happened, I didn't know. When I wake up before 9 a.m., I'm already hungry. Of course, food is there. Start eating. If you are experiencing something like this, you don't have to just ignore it and go ahead and be eating because food is available. Because that was what I was doing. When it was in a church program that they were, blood sugars were being tested, and I routinely, and I just, reluctantly say, let me just check. I thought it was normal because it had always been normal, only to notice that the thing had risen to as much as 130 something, which is not too alarming, but of course it's alarming to me because I'm someone that is talking about how to prevent it, how to manage it. So I had to work immediately to bring it down within 2 days. And that's what without medication, I was able to achieve it. And then that hunger in the morning had to be addressed. So if you're always hungry in the morning, this is something that happened to me about 3 years ago. You just wake up before 9 a.m., you're already rushing for food. My dear, don't joke with it. It may be a sign that your blood sugar is high. And if you are in doubt, you just try and check it. If you are experiencing that quick hunger in the morning, because that was what happened to me. So these are signs. And there are several other signs of diabetes that could come up. It varies with individual, but it's something that all seniors should be mindful of because it's very common these days due to the Western lifestyle that a lot of people are enjoying, eating too much of processed foods. A lot of people fast foods, all those canned food, baked goods, sugars, carbonated drinks. These are the common foods that a lot of people are taking, and then over time, before you know it, diabetes is already there. So there are also signs that you need to watch out for when the insulin resistance, because insulin resistance is always the messenger that goes before it. When you are experiencing insulin, when your body is no longer able to produce sufficient insulin to manage the sugar, that the pancreas is the one responsible for the insulin, that hormone called insulin. Remember that when it's no longer effective at all, the person will be placed on insulin permanently. Before he eats any food, they must take the drug or the injection. That is not what you wish for yourself. And so, because most of these drugs have their own side effect, so we need to work to ensure that our body is still able to produce the insulin. And if it does not, if it's reduced, we can also have some foods to activate it. There are foods like cinnamon, which we can add to our food, which we can add to our meals while cooking. There are several foods that we can consume naturally to help our body to reduce insulin resistance. I already shared a video of over 20 foods. It's there on my page, on my channel. And if you are not, you have not subscribed, please do so, because if you get to my channel, you see a lot of these videos on how to reduce blood sugar. But we cannot talk too much about it because each day you still see people very worried, very distressed because they are not able to, manage their blood sugar. because the blood sugar is giving them problems. As a result of it, that is why we continue to talk about it from time to time, because it's one of the biggest challenge of seniors: blood sugar, blood pressure, arthritis, and the rest of it. And so if you are trying to stop the diabetes or reverse it, you are trying to reduce insulin resistance, you need to watch out for these things I already mentioned. When the belly is getting fat, when you are getting hungry too quickly in the morning, you can't wait, and the rest of, and all similar things like that. You need to be on guard, to be watching out for things like that. So once you start experiencing it, there are natural herbs, there are foods that you can consume to make your body, to help your body to start producing the insulin, to activate it. And there are other lifestyle changes that you need to. But in this particular chart, I don't want to also talk too much about the foods and the herbs. Let's talk about the lifestyle. Number one, I talk about reducing your weight. I mean, through exercising and then not eating too much of the carbohydrates. Yes, when you are eating too much carbohydrates, it's a sure way, especially if you have it in your gene. Some people say that they eat all of that and they don't have weight gain. But that may be happening when you are younger, but when you are during the ages 50 and above, weight gain is sure to start setting in. It's because your body's metabolism is reduced. Your body's ability to digest food faster is reduced, and so the food stays longer in the body, and that is why the case of weight gain usually set in when we are getting to certain age. And so if you are also in that category of those who are overweight, you need to lose weight by exercising, then by reducing the carbohydrates, and by including fat burning foods in your diet to ensure that you are on the healthy side of weight. When you are on the healthy side of weight, it's difficult for you to have issues with blood sugar. Then there is another thing that also happens with the symptom that can happen when you are having problems sleeping. It's sometimes something that also signals the diabetes, because when you don't sleep well, the body is able to even manage sugar. Insulin resistance will be there, and that's the case of many seniors. They have problems sleeping due to dietary restrictions and all such things like that. And so if you are also in that category, then you need to do something about that. And what can you do about, not sleeping? There is little you can do, but one of the top things is to exercise. And then not only exercising, you need to also to choose your food wisely. Reduce the carbohydrates, stop the processed foods, not even stop the processed food, those food with chemical preservatives, colorants, you need to stop them. Eat whole foods, natural food that reduces sugar. These are ways you can, the changes you have to make. It's not about the teas, like I listed in the previous video. It's not about the food, but the lifestyle changes you have to make. You have to watch the foods you are eating. Do not eat too much carbohydrates. Yes, occasionally you fast. No, it is now known that when you allow the stomach to rest, especially overnight fasting, is very good. It enables the body, it gives it an edge to be able to manage insulin, and I personally noticed it. And so if you are someone that immediately you wake up, you start going for breakfast, my dad, you need to stop it. If you're a senior, when you wake up, the first and best thing to do is to engage in some exercises. I try to, even if you are not moving out of your house, there are some in-house exercises you can do to activate your organs in the morning. It's one of the ways to help to manage this insulin resistance. So you don't just wake up and sit down on your chair and cross your leg and they serve you food, you start eating. Now, if you are doing it and you do it regularly, you are preparing for weight gain and then possibly rise in your blood sugar. So you need to engage firstly in exercising and activating your internal organs in the morning. And then you need to also have your water therapy. Yes, have sufficient warm water in the morning. Yes, to help you to clean your organs. And then start also, apart from the morning with water therapy, start with spices that help to reduce sugar. There are spices like cloves. These are some of the things I do. If you do, you do not even have to wait for diabetes or insulin resistance before you start taking some of these foods. Chew the cloves, chew cloves, and then take also things like cinnamon. Sometimes you take bitter kola, sometimes you make your guava leaf tea. These are food that can help you. So if you don't have access to guava leaf tea, there are other teas that you can take, even bitter teas like the papaya leaves. You can boil it occasionally. The stone breaker, what we call stone breaker, you can occasionally also take it to help you with insulin resistance. So you have to, let's see whether we can share it for more people to come.